And then we're going to share the screen. And this is all going to be recorded as well. So I'm going to post this onto the group, and so that way you can kind of reference this back later if you've missed anything. And of course, if you guys have any questions, I can go over it at the end or throughout, just kind of hop on. So for anyone here that doesn't know me and then later on who ends up viewing this at a later date and time. So my name's Danielle. I own a physical therapy practice called Revitalized Performance in Bedford. And basically I treat athletes. So I treat specifically CrossFitters majority of the time. I also see active individuals and runners. So that's kind of who I specialize in, treating. The last couple weeks have been me seeing my clients mostly through telehealth, so kind of like this virtual call here, and it's been really helpful in progressing people's programs and not losing any ground between appointments, which is really, really awesome, and everybody's been really receptive to it, which is great. What the most common complaint that I'm hearing from people though is this increased back and neck pain. And it could be because of a couple reasons, but one is most people are sitting a little bit more than they typically do. Okay. So people who have been, going to the gym a couple days a week, maybe their gym routine is kind of fallen behind a bit. And the other part is that a lot of people are being forced to work from home that weren't ready to work from home, like ergonomically, right? So we're told to work from home, but now how do we set up our computer, our laptop, our monitors, our keyboards, our chairs? What do we have for it here at home, right? And so a lot of people are just been hunched over their computer screens for hours on the day on meetings. And so I'm getting a lot more complaints of that. So I figured I'd put this together for you. Hopefully this helps you out. And of course, if you have any questions, just go and jump on. So just really quick, the objective. So we're going to look at chair setup. So we're going to look at height and lumbar support, how to set up your monitor or laptop, or if you have both, like a dual screen, how to create an at-home standing desk. So then there's an importance to not being sitting a ton throughout the day, right? So kind of mixing it up a little bit. So it's nice to have that option. And then I'm going to go over some options for equipment for home. So equipment may not be something that you are able to purchase right now, which is totally fine. I put some like cheaper things on there, right? So a little less expensive. But if you end up having to work from home, God forbid this goes way longer than anyone expects it to, right? And we need to work from home, or you find yourself working from home more, it might be at some point something that you want to invest in, okay? And then we'll cover really quickly some exercises and stretches that you can do at home throughout the day in order to prevent the back and neck pain. All right, so chair setup. So the big one with the chair setup is that you want your feet flat on the floor. So if the feet are flat on the floor and the knees and hips are bent to about 90 to 120 degrees, that's kind of our goal, okay? So there's a couple issues, and I'm going to put this up here for a second. There's a couple issues when the chair height is too high or too low. Okay, so if we look the first picture here, my chair is too high for home. Okay, this is my kitchen table, and then you're gonna end up seeing my dining room table set up. But this is my kitchen setup. So if you're on a stool, a bar stool, or something up high like this, my feet would be hanging. Okay, and what that does is one, you have to scooch forward into the chair a little bit. So I'm lacking some back support, okay? It's causing some rounding in my spine and a little bit of this forward head position. So a nice, easy fix for that would be to get a stool, and you can use a bin, you can use a bunch of books under your feet for a little bit more support. Now, for us shorter folks who, despite having a chair that is a normal person height, my feet were not hitting the floor. And ideally what you want when you're sitting in a chair is your butt be as far back in the chair as possible. So if you scoot your bottom all the way back and your feet are still kind of not touching the floor, we want just a little support. So I used a cardboard box here, pretty sturdy box. Again, you can use a stack of papers, and books, whatever you have at home to kind of do that, okay? The next thing I want to talk about is lumbar support. So Lower back or lumbar support is super important. Okay, so we want our back, again, we're sitting in a chair, we want our butt to be as far back into the chair as possible. So that way we can use the back of the chair to help keep us more upright. What the lumbar roll does is it gives us a little bit of a wedge and a push forward and gives us a better base of support. So by using the lumbar roll, it helps improve our shoulder position, our head position versus this. And I see a lot of people in that first picture that are coming in for back and neck pain. So this is really going to tighten up your upper back and your neck. I've even had people complain of maybe some cervicogenic or headaches that come from the neck area, right, and then radiate upwards. So if we can get you into a better position like this would be ideal. Okay. All right. Next is going to be okay. So lumbar support in different chairs. This is not my promotion day. You should work from the couch. Okay. I'm not condoning anyone working from home and working from the couch. However, I know I've answered a few emails sitting on the couch. Okay. And I'm sure you will too at some point in time. So if we can take what we learned in the past 2 slides, give our back a little bit more support, and I'm talking like 2 pillows or something like that behind the back, it allows us to scooch more forward in the chair, so my feet are now supported, and also having a little bit more upright posture. Okay, so if you were working from the couch and you wanted to just improve the situation, that would be it. You are not meant to be in this position for long periods of time. Okay, so don't think that's an option, but I figured I'd give you this to improve the setup. All right, let me get this out of the way here. All right, so monitor and laptop setup. So 2 major things that you want with a monitor or a laptop setup, basically your screen, right? The distance of the laptop, you want your eyes should be the very top of the laptop or monitor screen or slightly below, okay? And then the distance should be about arm's width or 20 inches in front of you. So we're gonna look at what it looks like for too low or too high. So too low. So if the monitor is too low, we got a nice rounding of the lower back again, right? You can see that my angle is slouched downwards. But if I raise up my laptop in the second picture here with some books, so you can do, again, books, stacks of paper, get creative, you'd be surprised what you find all over your house, okay? By just raising that up to my eye height, I'm able to keep a better posture and positioning, and I'm not slouched downwards. Now, if you're using a laptop, you're going to need an external keyboard, okay? I don't want people using their keyboard and being up in this position here, right? So like raising the shoulders and trying to do one of those, it's not a good option. So we need an external keyboard, an external mouse, so that way we can keep our arms by our side. But that is a really, really nice option in order to improve that setup, okay? And this is just kind of showing monitor distance, right? So we got arms width away, maybe a slightly more, but we don't want to be too much further than that. Dual monitors. So dual monitors or a monitor and a laptop should be set up in this position here. So you want, if you're using both screens fairly equally, okay, you want that laptops to be positioned close together, okay, almost like making a small triangle or a point, and then angled towards each other. All right, so that way when you're looking from monitor to monitor, you're minimizing the amount of head movement that you have and the amount of strain on your neck. Most people, what they do is they have the monitors separate, and then one's lower and one's higher, so you're having a laptop and a monitor. If you have a laptop and a monitor, you have to boost that laptop up a bunch, right, to get it close to the height that you have as your monitor. All right, and that would be the most ideal setup with that. And then we have a standing desk setup. So like I said before, our bodies are not meant to sit hours on end, okay? And we're supposed to move. So if we can switch the sitting setup to a standing setup, it is a little bit more pain in the butt, because if you don't have one of these nice standing desks, you have to use a bunch of books. I was surprised about how many cooking books I had. I'm not going to lie. I found a lot of cooking books that I didn't know I owned. Apparently I don't cook. So I used a bunch of cooking books to raise up the laptop, and all the measurements stay exactly the same. So laptop is still going to be about eye height. Okay. You still want for your elbows, maybe a 90 or this is a little bit more than 90-degree position. Okay. So maybe I could raise this up a little bit more. And again, you need that external laptop there. The sit to stand desk option, this one was on Amazon for like $165. There's a ton of options out there for you guys. Okay. There's even ones for like $40 that convert to a standing desk, but they're obviously a little bit cheaper made. But this is an option. I'll provide an equipment list on all the things that I mentioned in this talk, so that way if you ever want to reference it, you can go back and reference it. And then the only other thing in standing that I'll point out is maybe a standing mat. Some people have these mats in the front of their sink, right? So right in front of their kitchen sink, so to help support their lower back, maybe take some stress off the feet, the knees, and the hips in that standing position. That's just going to give your body a little cushion. That's all it is. All right. And I think the mat that I'm using is like, I don't know, $50 or $60. My husband works from home, so he's got all the this fancy equipment for home that I basically steal. All right. I think anything else. All right, some exercises. So it's going to be hard for me to kind of correct and go around like I usually do with workshops while doing some of these exercises, but I am going to go through them with you, and I'll try to, if your screen is on and you want to try them out, go for it, and I will do my best to try to kind of correct you and give you better instructions. So chin tucks. The purpose of chin tucks is to get your neck and head out of this position here. So we spend a lot of time forward, right? We're on the computer forward, we're texting forward or downward. So the back of the neck here gets really, really tight, okay? And so what we want to do is put it in a better mechanical position. So what I want you to think about doing is putting your, almost having your chin on a shelf, like a level shelf here, and you're taking the chin off the shelf, and then you're going to put the chin back on the shelf. What I find people end up doing is they end up going down or they end up going back. And I don't want either. I want it on a nice level playing field. So off the shelf and then on the shelf, okay? And then what I do is I use my hand, you can use one or two hands on your chin to give your chin a guidance and then a small pressure backwards. So I go back as far as I can't go back any further, and then I give a little bit of a pressure. And there's a couple places that you might feel that stretch. It might be up on the top side of the neck here or in the back of the neck, and all that is normal stuff, okay? It's because those joints are so stiff because of the movement or the lack of movement that they had in a while, okay? And the only other thing I'll say with this exercise, I also get people that do this exercise and they end up opening and closing their jaw like this. I want everything staying closed. It's coming from the neck. It's not coming from the opening and closing the jaw, okay? So, and you'll get videos. I'll post the videos in the group too. So that's the first one. The second exercise is extension over a chair. So this is going to combat, I'm just going to move this here. This is just going to help combat some of that mid back pain, shoulder blade pain, or upper trap, these guys here. And so what you want is a chair with a lower back. You can use a folding chair. If you have a kitchen chair, office chair, something like that. You're putting your hands on your shoulders, elbows stay close together, and you're extending backwards. And you're going to hold for 2 to 3 seconds and then just repeat a few times. All of these exercises, and get those elbows nice and close together. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Beautiful. Okay. So we're extending backwards over the chair. If you don't have a lower back chair, you can still do this sitting at the edge of the chair, right? And then I have the other option over a foam roller next. So that's going to be really nice to start out in mid back. The other option is let me just throw this over here, over a foam roller, okay? So same exact stretch. If you have a foam roller for home, some people actually prefer this because they can really get some good weight over that foam roller. We're using a foam roller as a fulcrum to bend backwards over. two things to note. Some people try lifting their hips up off of the ground while they do this exercise. Keep the hips down. There's no reason to lift those hips up, okay? And then the other thing that people end up doing is arching or hyperextending their lower back. The real movement we want is coming from the mid back. So try not to like overextend or what we call like rib flare. So keep your ribs down, but allow the upper back to go over the foam roller. And these videos have pretty decent instructions on them too, so that'll kind of go over these exercises. And last but not least, standing back bends. So basically, same exact thing that's going to be for the neck and the mid back. We're combating the movement that or the position that we're in all day, which is a little bit of flexion, right? With the opposite movement. So hands are going to be in the lower back. We're using our hands as the fulcrum in this situation, and keeping the knees straight, no bending in the knees, and you're just extending backwards. Now, you don't need to also throw the head back with this exercise. You can keep the neck in neutral position, but push your back, like lower back backwards, okay? Doesn't hurt anything by doing the neck as well, but some people feel like they're a little off balance when they go backwards. All right, so I'm gonna open it up to you guys really quick. If you have any questions on anything I went over, or more specific to your workup or situation at home that I can personally help with, I mean, like if you guys have any questions, and you don't necessarily have to ask them here too, feel free to message me on Facebook, and we can kind of connect, and I can help out in any way I can. If there's no questions, what I'll do is, so again, I'm gonna post this on Facebook for anyone that's in this chat and then watches it also. I am giving, for the rest of April, basically the month of April, 50% off my telehealth session with me. So basically you get an hour of my time for the cost of a half hour, basically. And that's just $87. And we can go over anything. It doesn't have to be work setup. It could be pain that you've been having. I think the biggest thing is some people have a little bit more downtime right now, and now's the time to fix some issues or work on some issues if you've been kind of avoiding those, and not to wait until the gym reopens and then you're still kind of set back and modifying workouts and stuff, right? So if you can use this time to kind of get ahead, that would be useful, right? So you have two options. You can sit on the couch and watch Netflix and eat a bunch of crap, or you can use this time to focus on some areas that maybe have been neglected because you haven't had time before, and now you have a little extra, right? And that's not everybody. Some people are, short on time more than ever, but if you have extra time, use it now. All right. Any questions, guys?
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
So why is it important to sit in an upright position or to maintain a neutral spine?
Yeah, for sure. So I didn't go into a ton of details because that would be a whole presentation on its own. But basically, very long story short, is our body is made up of what's things called facet joints and then discs. And so they stack on top of each other, okay? And so if we sit into a position where we're in a little bit more flex position, or in any position for too long, those joints and that disc start to wear and tear and almost become, I don't want to say, they start having pressure put on them where they shouldn't be. So it's normal to bend your spine and it's normal to extend your spine, but it's not normal to put things in a certain position and hold it. So imagine, this is a really nice analogy. Imagine if you did this to your finger and you held it there. Like at first, it's not bad, right? Like you let go and the pain goes away. But if you held this position for 30 minutes, an hour, 3 hours, 4 hours, that tissue on the side of your finger, that's going to actually start to linger and hurt, right? That's exactly what's going on with your lower back. It's not as immediate. Our spine is really stable and is really resilient. So it takes a while for things to start breaking down. But basically that's what happens, is you're putting that pressure on, but you're keeping it there for way longer of a period of time, right? Does that kind of make some sense?
It does.
Yeah. Any other questions? That was a good one.
I have one, Danielle.
Yeah, go for it.
I saw you said we should be taking breaks every 25 minutes.
Yeah, if you can. So, that's a tough one because I struggle with this one because it takes me 25 minutes to get into something. So like mentally, it takes me 25 minutes to get into whatever I'm doing. And so I don't want to break at 25 minutes. So if you're not having any immediate pains, you could probably push to 45 minutes to an hour and still be okay, right? Nobody's posture and positioning is going to be great for 45 minutes to an hour. There's no way, like that lovely picture of me here, okay? Like after 45 minutes to an hour, that's not looking like that. I guarantee you. Okay. But I'm trying, and so if you take 25-minute breaks, even if you're coming out of that, you're walking around and then you're resetting into that position. Do you know what I mean? So, so you could push it to a 45 minutes to an hour. And when I say break, I mean like get up and maybe do a few stretches, like do a few back bends. If you have to go to the bathroom, that type of thing. I don't mean like take a half-hour break, because that would we would all be super not productive. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Like take a minute to stand up and do some back bends. Take a minute to extend back over the chair for a second and get out of that position. But don't go take a 45-minute break because your physical therapist told you. Your boss would be super pissed.
Yeah.
My physical therapist told me every half hour I need to step away from this work. It's too much for me. Yeah, no, it would like it very much. Does that make sense though?
Yes, definitely. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good. Anything else, guys? All good? Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. Some great questions. And this will be posted as well as the exercises and all the equipment. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. All right?
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.